15 years, the damage that load shedding has brought to this economy has been incalculable.
The death toll from the recent floods in the South African province of KwaZulu-Natal has risen to 49.
After a fairly subdued night, the Knysna fires have begun to grow again.
We begin tonight with a nation already on edge in the coronavirus pandemic as protests turn violent.
London's burning and no one seems able to bring it under control.
You're listening to Off-Grid Survival, South Africa's first prepper podcast.
And we are your hosts, Brett and Ben.
Good afternoon, Ben. How's it going?
Good afternoon, Brett. It's very good.
Cool, man. So this is episode 7. I ask you this every time. Can you believe we're this far along?
No, I can't. But I'm getting used to it, slowly but surely.
Yeah, having the mic in your face definitely takes getting used to. So up next, we had an interview with Alfie from Food Socks this morning. Very interesting interview. Just a heads up, this was recorded in the wild, as they say. So there's quite a bit of background noise, a couple of motorbikes and a couple of kids.
And hopefully no copyrighted music.
Yeah, no, we did record at a coffee shop. The guys from Garden Route Food Socks were at a market in Wilderness where we met them and had an opportunity to try some of their products. And we had a chat with their national sales manager, Alfie, as I said, and very interesting guy. And I'm sure you will enjoy the interview. So I think let's jump straight into that.
Of course.
Cool. Good morning. We are here with Alfie from Food Socks today. Alfie, how are you doing?
I'm well, and you? Thank you, Brett and Ben, for this opportunity.
No, lekker, man. We've had a chance to have a chat with you over the last hour or so at your guys' stand here at the Wilderness Slow Food Market. And yeah, I'm really impressed with the product. We did a couple of tastings. Ben, you particularly like the milk course, I believe.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It tastes like milk tart.
Milk tart. Okay, great. So, Alfie, to start with, let's go and talk about you personally. You mentioned that you had actually done some off-grid living yourself. Would you mind telling us your story?
Yes, by all means. So it goes back way about 6 years from now. Yeah, 6 years ago. That's just when I relocated from Johannesburg, from a much more busier lifestyle and into much more of a nature lifestyle. And I relocated completely to the wilderness. And then from there, I just found my way literally at quite a quiet little space here that used to be a restaurant many, many years ago, known as the Cayman's Grotto.
Yes.
And I found that very pleasant. And that was quite a very interesting getaway for me personally. And then I ended up living there for quite a year, still selling shoes online, because that's what I do. I'm in sales. And that's what I did for a year while making my way from the wilderness, from where I resided for a whole year. And yeah, just started getting to know everyone in the wilderness.
So you lived totally off-grid. You had no electricity, no running water?
That's correct. Totally off-grid. The only thing that is there would be a fresh water flowing from it's a main pipeline that connects all the way from Wilderness right through to Victoria. Okay. So that is a fresh water pipeline that's running through there, but absolutely no power. And funny enough, the signal is quite interesting and very strong there at the cave, because the ley lines of the globe, they actually connect right there, something that very few people know about. Okay. That's why the energy there is so intense. So you completely live off grid. You literally make use of gas. If you catch fish, awesome. Mussels size of your hand, most definitely.
Okay, very interesting.
And what made you decide to live there?
It actually, then this is the interesting part. It came to me in a dream, and I remember before emigrating, if I can use that word, from a busy lifestyle to a much more quiet one to the wilderness. It was a dream I had, and this dream is, I'm one of those, I wake up from a dream, I write it down. Everybody around me might think, no, this is crazy. And this dream was literally me. There was boulders around me. I can clearly remember this dream because I wrote it down. I was in the middle of boulders, big rocks and everything, with this giant bathtub with a laptop and wires running out of it. And I was running some sort of business, but I couldn't really wrap my mind around it. I wrote this dream down and everything. 3 months from back then, I just saw myself residing in the wilderness. And that was actually, my dream literally led me to be where I needed to be. And 5 years later, what am I doing? This is literally what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Might not be in a bathtub as per se with boulders around me, but I literally had that experience to live off grid with boulders around me. And I did back that time have a laptop with me, and I actually did do work, but not knowing that I'm going to be connecting so many people at such a scale, going through what I did in a good way, And what I'm doing now is just phenomenal. I'm actually, it's just, this thing has gone global, what we're doing with the food sock.
That's amazing. I'm just curious from a personal point of view, you were in a situation where you went from, like you say, quite a high stress environment in Gauteng to quite literally living on a beach.
Absolutely.
How did that sudden change of high stress to still having responsibilities, but living off grid, how did that affect you mentally?
Wow,
personally?
that is a very interesting question. I must say that was a mind shift. I can honestly say, from a lifestyle where you have easy access to electricity, easy access to everything. It's quite a mind shift. It's quite a change, because now your whole life, everything turned around where there's no washing machine. So you get taught when you move in there, you get taught the ways how to do everything manually. So when you do washing, step on it 300 times, turn it around, step on it 300 times, turn it around. You're going to have to, if you want to come out in the public, you're going to have to still look tidy and neat and clean. Now, this is the part where people, where they hear, you lived in a cave. And they've got this different picture in their head, maybe like Fred Flintstone, but it's completely not that. So you're still a human being. You're still a being. So when you go out in society, people tend to like, where you from, and ask questions, So yeah, it was quite a mind shift change of note. Very needed. Probably the best thing that ever happened in my life. I was off screen literally from now, having a big flat screen, watching shows late at night. Everything there. When the sun's down, it's dark. So it's early nights. But then again, it's a kilometer walk from Linky Slip to your actual destination over gravel road, and it's a railway through a dark tunnel, through the rain and all that. So yeah, that was quite a mind shift change of note. Needed. I would highly recommend it for anyone who wants to make that change.
Yeah, so the reason I'm asking is because obviously in the preparedness community, we're always talking about what would happen in a grid down scenario. And for those that don't know, grid down scenario is basically when there's no electricity, there's no water. All of a sudden, your modern conveniences have disappeared. And you literally did that voluntarily.
Yeah, agree. And I went back for seconds.
Wow, okay. No, that's awesome. Wow. So not only did you stay there for a year initially, you then went, if I can put so bold, came back to civilization.
Yes.
And then you decided to go and live there again a second time.
Yeah.
What did you use for lighting? What did you use for cooking? How did you survive, dude?
Okay, I'll gladly explain. Okay, so the first round I went, obviously not prepared, because you don't know what to expect. So first round, I didn't know that I have to have an axe. Secondly, you're going to obviously have to get wood, chop up wood, which is a daily routine. And obviously the second round, I realized, look, I need a gas bottle. So after the first year that I lived there, I got a contract in George, where I installed most of the fiber optics and the PTZ cameras for the control center in George. And that went through a year, nice experience, but nice. I wanted a different challenge. So I moved out of my apartment at Grootbrak, and I just moved back in. That's where I met my amazing wife as well. She did 7 months with me. And basically the second round I went back, I knew now I was ready. I knew I had to get a gas bottle. I knew I needed the axe. So if you got gas, if you got an axe, and you got a fishing rod, you are pretty much 80% ready to go. Only thing that you should then focus on is get up, dress up, and show up. If you have that opportunity anywhere else, or anyone invites you for the day to do anything, that was my ingredients. And then for lighting and for charging my device, I actually found online a device called the iHarvey Outdoor Inventions. You could purchase it online, and this device is amazing because it's actually like a little tank which takes in your paraffin, illuminated paraffin, and then it's got a little turbine on top of it with 3 USB outlets, which then feeds milliampage power to these LED lights. Oh, wow. So this device works on 1 liter of illuminated paraffin, which gives you a total of 90 hours of consecutive light. Now, one LED light, there's 3 of them. One is a 2 meter length, one is a 4 meter length, one is a 6 meter length cable. So you can actually fit these fittings right around your surroundings where you live or where you reside in.
That sounds fascinating.
That then gives you light, and you can charge your phone simultaneously at the same time. So there's your light is covered, and you got devices being charged throughout the night. So the next day you wake up, phone is on, check your messages, conduct some online business. I mean, who doesn't want to do that?
Cool. That sounds like a really fascinating piece of equipment. I'm going to look into that.
But how safe was it being there? Obviously, you have your gear that when you leave the cave, are you sure your stuff is going to be there when you get it back?
Absolutely. That thought goes through a lot of people's mind. The locals, way in the beginning, there was a little bit of, I can't say skepticism from the locals, but they never really knew and understood what it is to live there. In actual fact, it's very safe because it used to be a restaurant many, many years ago with cornered off sections where the majority of the people that live there, they contribute by living there by maintaining the place. So you get given duties, and that's all you need to do. Obviously, if it's rent free, then you get a certain amount of duties where you install doors, locks, and so forth. So most of the quarters are completely locked up, where you get a lock and a key, and that. So no, it was very safe.
So most of the time there's people there.
Most of the time there's foreigners there. Most of the times I'll wake up with my slippers, cup of coffee in the hand, and I'll have foreigners walking through. They want to check my room, and I go, yeah, by all means. I had a giant Mickey Mouse on my wall, which was a showstopper. But there's so much to see, so much to do. So for all the outdoor enthusiasts, let me tell you, this is one for the books.
Oh, nice.
And with regard to food while you were there, did you have communal cooking or did you cook individually?
Basically, it was communal cooking for the majority of them. Millipap, which is a very, very well-known maize, that was basically the staple food down there. For me, it was a little bit different because I always think outside the box. So I conducted business online. I made my way to the Wilderness Hotel where I got a warm shower because I paid the gym fee there, which was 100 Rand a month. So I managed to get a warm shower every day. And then, yeah, it's communal. So everybody just chips in, clubs in. So if it's like from popping boards to mussels, I mean, mussels the size of your hand. And I'm not exaggerating. The mussels that we get, maybe anywhere you go have a chow, amazing, nice tasting. But the mussels you cultivate there, where that connects the Caimans to Victoria Bay, are massive. So if it's squid that you like, if it is fish, I mean, you just catch fish right there. So it's mussels, it's seafood, and literally communal cooking, yes.
As a curiosity, what percentage of foodstuffs that you guys went through would you say you bought as opposed to gathered?
The most stuff that we had to buy, I would say was basically bread. We didn't have much of a choice back then because bread was 5 years ago. Still now, it's not a big price, but I would say bread, tin foods lost quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was a protein shake every now and then. But I never had the luxury of a high protein, nourished type of food all in one back then. So all this came along.
And now you're obviously involved in food socks. What a difference would it have made if you had access to a company like Food Socks when you were living in the cave?
Good question. It would have been an absolute game changer because I would have elevated the majority of the people living there as well to better the community and the people within the community, to actually empower them to go out there and make a difference and maybe sell that as well. But it's not that easy to get from off-grid living back into society. That was quite because from society into off-grid living, that's a shift on its own. But once you live there for 2 years, you need to move back into society. You tend to shy away from people, and so. But it would have been a game changer of note. It would have been an all-in-one easy meal. So that's why I do donations every now and then to them, and their jaws are on the floor. It's gold to them, like meat for some people.
And what's the biggest lesson you've taken from your time there back into civilization?
Biggest lesson would for me be we're gonna have to many times in our life we're gonna have to break away. I mean, a lot of people, they might see a meme or they'll share something interesting that they read somewhere, but it's not relevant to people that never really did it. So if you really want to see growth and change within yourself, you've got to get out your comfort zone. And when you're out your comfort zone, that is when true growth really starts. So the lesson that I learned was it's needed in your life to break away. If it's for a year or two, disappear, get offline, get off Facebook, get off WhatsApp, disappear for 2 years. I kid you not, after that, you're going to see a huge change within yourself. So that's a lesson I learned.
Did you also experience, I know I've been out in the bush for 10 days a week, and like with hunting, you're away from people and you spend a lot of time on your own, and you start to lose that armor you build up around people because you're constantly defending yourself, even subconsciously, against people and their thought processes and their opinions. Did you find that, and to what extent, did it go beyond, being obviously almost on your own with like-minded people for a year or two? How does that change you?
Yes, that changed me quite a bit. The stories that you hear of people living off grid or made their way to this amazing place, everybody's got a story to tell, and you never really know and understand what a person went through and why they are there. So everything that we taught each other and shared, and I mean, just from like maybe chopping wood in a different way, catching fish in a different way, or you'll be surprised the basics we as humans need just to survive and get through. I mean, just by flicking a switch by a kettle, that's a luxury.
Yeah.
Yes.
Flicking a button, checking news quickly, or something that's happening globally, that's a luxury. So it kind of, and to think what everyone went through when 2020 hit, what everyone saw on news, everyone was in a state of, I don't know, maybe fear, maybe surprise, what's happening to the world. But not everyone down there, because they didn't know, they weren't constantly in front of a screen or anything. So they had it very, I would say, hey, we're off grid. It's not really affecting us in a way.
Yes.
So it did have a good impact with me, with staying with the people there for long term. When you get back in society and you get a question like, where do you live? And you mention to them, then people tend to withdraw a bit. And that was a difficult part for me. Yes. To blend in with society and everyone knowing, oh, this is who you are. You're new in town. That's already number one. Number two, now, like, where are you currently staying? Funny enough, 99% of people, when you meet up with them, their first question will come up within the first 10 minutes. So where do you live? Where are you from?
Yeah.
And that there was for me the interesting part where I go, well, I'm only I'm new here, so this is where I live, in Carmen's Grotto in a cave. And to their surprise, the jaw drop on many of these faces would be, they're trying to picture in their mind, like all listeners now might think, okay, what goes through your mind? What you're going to see there, you'll be very surprised how people adapt to off-grid living. They make it work.
I suppose a lot of people, not knowing about it or have a reference in their lives, the only thing they can think of is either your bossy or your homie.
That's it, yes.
They don't know about a person choosing to be away from society.
Absolutely, so true. I chose to be away because I made that conscious decision of let me restart and let me replan my idea which I had when I moved down. Obviously, I moved down just like, I'm going to the coast. I'm going to be on a beach. I actually lived on a beach for a whole week. That was literally probably the single-handed most hardest thing I've experienced, was to live on the beach for a whole week, not knowing anyone, not knowing where to go, just me and my bag of clothes. I must say, there were some beautiful sunsets, sunrises, I must say. But that was single-handedly toughest moment I went through, but probably the best thing that ever happened to me as well.
Now, obviously, this might be a question that everybody might be thinking or wanting to know is, now that you've lived off-grid in a cave, do you suddenly know how to light fires without matches and stuff? Can you just rub two sticks together and make a fire?
Not yet. It's not that easy, but there is gadgets out there. There's so many off-grid shops selling off-grid items, like I just mentioned now. There is equipment that can give you this quick fire, but no, I haven't mastered that yet.
Okay. Wow, man, dude, that's so fascinating. I actually want to go check this place out. It sounds, it's up my alley.
Nice.
I really want to go check it out sometime.
Last time I was there, it's still a restaurant.
Okay, wow, I've never been there. I've always wanted to go for a walk down the railway track across the Kaimans River. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely putting on my list of things to do.
Awesome.
So how did you get involved with Food Socks, dude?
Okay, so this is the best part. How I got involved with Food Socks was when I lived at the Kaimans Grotto. I got an opportunity to work at the Outeniqua Train Museum. Okay. Now, one of the Lions International members, a very good friend of ours, and she sadly passed away, a very good friend of mine and the community. We all got to know each other, and that's how I ended up meeting Cole. And now Cole is still part of the Lions International, and he knew my way of life and all of that, and he really saw, and he knows I got potential. I'm a people's person, and and him knowing me from where I excelled from there. I mean, I was literally where I lived there, and I moved into the construction industry, and from there into the real estate. From in 2018 all the way to 2020. I already sold my first house in 2021 as a real estate agent. But I then realized that the housing industry is not really for me, so I want to move into something else. And this is while I was a waiter at a very well-known guest house and a art gallery in Kleinbrak. I got an opportunity to be part of Foodsock. So me and Cole, we spoke a bit about it, and we were still joking about it. He said, this might be going so massive, I'm going to need someone to control all the resellers if we're planning this reseller model of his. And, we were still making a joke about it. And I mentioned, well, this is what I'm currently earning, and I'm very flexible, and my passion is for people. So let's give it a bash. And a week after that, I moved along and I started the business with him as a national sales manager. And I've been signing up people ever since, still here now for a whole year consecutively. So we're creating work opportunities for people right around the globe and country-wise.
So I first came across Foodsocks just over a year ago, I think it was, through our friend of the show, Morna at Bagard SA. And I was fascinated by it because I'd never seen anything on the South African market like it. Foodsocks is quite a unique product. What can you tell us about it?
Okay, well, the Foodsocks are amazing. It's not only a food product, but it's a solution. So this is the message that we carry over to all of our resellers. A product is only as good as the message behind it. Now, the message that Foodsock wants to carry over, it's a very easy, convenient, budget-friendly, all-in-one meal. The main ingredients is pasta, rice, and then a variety of spices and flavorings. And then it's all soya-based, so it's dehydrated vegetables. And then the upside to all of this is that literally we call it the Foodsock because the name of it is just something different. So it fits in a sleeve. And it's basically very convenient. In one sock can feed up to 4 adults. And if you divide that into kids' portions, you can feed up to 6 kids with one food sock. And then the retail price, our resellers retail them at 45 Rand per sock.
So you're saying for 45 Rand for one meal, you can feed 4 people?
That's correct. So you can literally divide 45 Rand then into 4.
Yes.
So which will just give you a little bit over 11 Rand, 12 Rand
Per
proper, decent meal.
That's insane.
And what is the reseller model you're talking about? How does that work?
Okay, so basically the reseller model that we initiated is basically we get, not only are we going to be able to have an amazing food product out on the market, so instead of just going straight to any biggest chain store shelving and putting it on a shelf, we decided, well, let's grow this brand and let's get people opportunities to create little entrepreneurs out of them, while you're going to have this gigantic amount of people who wants to go out and serve the community, because that is what we do. We serve the community, and we serve communities right around the country. So instead of just having a product selling on the shelf, we're creating these opportunities for resellers, not only making a little bit on the side as well, but they actually extending their own pantry at home while doing taste testing like we did today at the Milkwood Village. And once you do taste testing and people hear about it, smell it, taste it, we are bettering the people in all communities by doing what we're doing.
Yes.
I had the opportunity of meeting the owner, Carl, earlier when he was here. Fascinating gentleman.
Yeah.
And he was saying that you guys are looking at expanding the brand. Can you tell us some more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So by expanding the brand, we initially first had to look in product development and package development. So that's the exciting part, which the majority of our resellers might have an idea what's coming. So package development is already in process. Product and food development, we're looking at a possibility of a 10th flavor. And then us expanding, the part we're mentioning there is we've been busy for about 8 months with already shipment going through to Mauritius.
Oh, wow.
So that is in the pipeline as well. And there is just such an influx of queries from all over the globe. I'm talking from Uganda, I'm talking China. There's even a big possibility that was going to come from, and not very far from now, which is a US-based company, which we're going to be taking hands with. And that's another very exciting episode on its own, where we're going to be expanding to. But the need is out there globally. So
it's amazing to see a South African startup company, which literally a year and a half now, I believe.
Yes, that's
about
correct.
A year and a half has gone. You guys have gone. You went national basically overnight due to your reseller model. You've been featured on SABC News, on Quella, on Espresso, on air is here. So thank you for joining us on Off-Grid Survival.
Absolute pleasure.
You've had the big boys, and yeah, we'll get there one day.
Awesome.
But yeah, to see a South African company doing so well in such a short space of time is a testament to what you guys are doing as a company, I think, and the product that you've got, but also to the needs of a lot of South Africans. We're more obviously involved in the preparedness side for emergency preparedness, but there are people in South Africa that literally on a day-to-day basis can't afford a hot meal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're living the emergency all day.
Every day is an emergency for them. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can add to that a little bit if you guys want
Yes.
to. It's a little bit over more than 1/3, if not more, of kids in our country is malnutrition. And that's where we're going to be taking hands with a different type of business model, which will be a different spin-off, where we're going to be actually contributing towards the community with micro ingredients. But that's something interesting for the future as well.
Okay, no, I look forward to that. And like with the food socks themselves, you said everything is plant-based, so there's no meat products in it.
That is correct.
Okay, so that makes it fairly shelf-stable at the moment. I see you've only got a guaranteed 1 year best before on that. Any chances of getting something with a longer shelf life?
The possibility on that is as product development moves on, obviously the longer that we as business is running, the longer we can then say, look, it might be a year and a half even. But if it's stored in dry, cool conditions, I mean, a dehydrated food product can last even, if not more, up to 2 years. I think majority of food products that we know, the food industry make their money by creating consumers. The more we consume, the more they can sell. That's why they're short-dated, or not short-dated.
Best befores.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you say there's no animal products, I mean, what about the flavoring, like a chicken and the beef and whatever?
The chicken and the beef, there's a possibility that they do have, and this is a question that we do get from a lot of vegans and vegetarians and all that. So there is still in your stock cubes we used to use in the beginning, which we eliminated the stock cubes, but like your soups and all that, they do still contain animal product.
Okay. So it's not 100% vegan or anything?
Not 100%. Yeah,
Okay.
so I've got
not that we're worried about that.
Yeah, no, it's good
we're
to know
definitely
these
meat
things.
eaters.
Will you do a brand which is vegan?
Most definitely. There's even look, if the listeners out there go onto our website www.foodsock.co.za, there's a long list with FAQs and questions and all that.
Yes.
And then it is a possibility we can look into that, even though we do get a lot of queries where people might ask, is your product gluten-free? Is your product GMI-free? Is there MSG in? But the reality is 80%, if not more, of food source in shops do contain these items.
Yes,
And if you do find gluten-free, if you do find MSG-free or GMO-free, it might be a tad more, I don't want to use the term expensive, but it might be a little bit more than the actual budget market, target market, which we are actually targeting.
Yeah, but also, the people focus on MSG. MSG is a natural product. Anything where you get the umami flavor has its own MSG developed into it,
Yeah.
So,
And I know there's...
but you guys don't add any.
We don't add any at all, no.
Yeah. So flavor-wise, can you give us a breakdown of the different food socks that you guys have got at the moment?
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'll start off with, as we do taste testers, the sweet one first. That'll be the traditional milk course.
That's the one Ben had.
And that is the absolute winner, that. And after that one, I would say definitely the pasta bolognese.
Yeah, I tried that one. I'll admit, I was a bit dubious at first because I'm a bit of a texture eater.
Okay.
And it tasted like, the mouthfeel was like mince. I was very impressed. Yeah.
Amazing.
I noticed
I'm
you
glad.
added a tomato and onion mix, like a can, which changed the flavor also quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why I do the taste testing with my resellers recommending, you can have side potatoes, there's always sides you can always add. So
Yes.
my chicken biryani, if you make it as is, it tastes phenomenal, but you can add chicken to it. So this might create a whole new different episode, maybe, for come dine with me.
or coconut milk or anything like that.
That's
to add
correct.
flavor.
Yes. So you can always add on. So we don't only go for the people living under the bread line, but this is actually an easy, convenient food meal where, load shedding is at an all-time high. It's not getting any better, if not
Yes.
then this is like the easiest way. I mean, if you know you got 45 minutes left of your day and you come home from a tremendous amount of work for the day, and you only got like 45 minutes to do something before the lights go out, well, there we go. Food Sock's your solution.
Yes.
Cool. So that's milk course and bolognese.
Milk course, pasta bolognese, yeah.
What else you got?
Then I've got a tomato briedi, and then we got a chakalaka samp and beans, who was the latest entry because that is very high in fiber. And then the samp and beans, which is got its own health benefits. So that opened up a whole different demographic people for our business model, which showed tremendous change as well. And then we got the mutton stew, which is a really good one. And then the chicken pasta.
And you mentioned chicken biryani already as well.
Yeah, chicken biryani, the tomato briedi, mutton stew, chakalaka samp and beans, mac and cheese.
Oh, mac and cheese as well.
That's correct. Mac and cheese, that is a winner. The mac and cheese is absolute winner because that is very easy to make. You just boil your macaroni till it's to a point where it's like a soft. You add a little bit of margarine. You can make it as is. You go in the powder, you stir it up, and it really has got all that paprika and nice tasting ingredients in there, which gives you that smell of bacon. Yet there's no bacon in.
Yes.
That's why it's the mac and cheese.
I'm looking forward to trying that one.
Yes, me
Absolute
too.
winner.
So Food Sock started off at the George Food Pantry, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. Initially, it was born under the umbrella of the Garden Route Food Pantry.
Garden Route Food Pantry, sir.
And then that was based in George, where we had quite a big facility there. And ever since the airing on Kwela and CakeNet and so forth, this business boomed so big that we had no choice but to actually already start planning for other depots, because that'll then dramatically cut the costs of shipping from us to the end user.
Okay.
So initially then it was the 1st of July in 2023, if I'm correct, where the Cape Town factory opened up there. And then that's quite a big facility, so the amount of socks we can push out there was quite tremendous. And by having a bigger facility, the quantity of queries coming in, they will have quite a bit of strenuous admin and paperwork asking, okay guys, we are looking at pushing out 50,000 food socks. Can your facility handle it? And that's why we had to get the bigger facility in Cape Town. So the heart of the business is in George. And then that is basically where I'm residing and working from remotely, handling all resellers nationally. And then we also branched out to Durban, where we've got a depot in Durban as well. And then we recently had to downscale the George facility so we can actually utilize the full factory at Cape Town, because there's quite a few big projects in the pipeline. So in order to do that, we had to do a little bit of a sacrifice. So just planning on utilizing our factory in Cape Town to its full capacity. And once the bigger things and projects land, we will then plan on reopening another facility within George.
So I understand from just talking to Carl and you that you guys do a more labor-intensive packaging to give as many opportunities for employment as possible.
Yes, that's correct. So basically every single sock is packed scoop by scoop, flavor by flavor. After every sock is packed, the quality control is quite strict to a point where it's not only health and safety, but the sealing of the bags, the label that's going on the bag, is the actual product in the sock, which the label states. So that is also a very important factor. So it's very labor intensive, and then every single sock is packed with love, with care, by individuals who we have employed to pack all these socks. Instead of going automated, because we're not going to be then generating more and more people for opportunities. And by generating more resellers, which we currently have, we're actually contributing to work opportunity as well.
That's amazing. Yeah. So with regard to the food socks, I put out a call on our Instagram and Facebook for people that had some questions regarding food socks. And I got a couple of them. One is from a lady by the name of Tracy. And she would like to know, are you guys looking at doing stuff that is more for people that are allergic to products? So like you mentioned earlier with gluten-free, or people that have maybe got celiac disease or something like that. Is there anything in the pipeline in that regard?
Oh, yes. Okay, Tracy. So to answer on that, there's definitely, I would refer you to the website, www.foodsock.co.za. By the FAQ section, gladly, you can put your question in there and we will get back to you. And as we move into food development, there is a possibility, yes.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. And then the other question that I had is people have noticed that the food socks are in a clear plastic bag. Is there anything for more of the prepper community coming maybe in the pipeline where it'll be in Mylar or something like that?
Yes, this is also then another interesting part is as food development and the product development going forward, we actually completely rebranding. So we'll have a different type of sleeve, which is a stand-up sleeve. Because currently the sock is kind of lying on its side, which is still pretty cool and flexible. But the whole idea is to see a food product through a package. It just gives that more crisp. And so people like to see what is in a bag.
Yes.
But now the fact that they know what it tastes like, and the bag we got a different rebranding of it, it's gonna be a complete game changer. And then to answer your question on that one, there's definitely planning for bigger options on feeding schemes, schools and so forth. For one example is we got quite a big project that's going to be happening in this country where we would possibly be feeding a numerous amount of jails in 25-liter buckets. So that's quite big. That's quite a big sock. If you think about it.
Yeah.
But currently it is still doable for our resellers to purchase and resell the single socks as is, because the bigger the quantities, the bigger the packages we're planning, you're gonna have to get different labels, bigger labels. The weight might be it's gonna have a little bit of implication on the transport costs and the end user price as well.
And now with you retaining a more labor intensive packaging system, if you want to expand your are you looking at putting more factories into South Africa?
We
Or
are
if you go overseas?
Yes, yeah, we actually already discussing it with our bigger partners who's like there's a big part. One of my resellers, they are in debt counseling. So debt busters, they're quite all over the show in the country. So there's big plans with banks and all of that. So we will have no choice but to look at other facilities to accommodate our bigger project.
Yes.
Seeing what happened within a year, I think small businesses that starts off with such a bang, 80% of them would say, yeah, if you start off too big, this and this. But we were awarded one of the top 5 businesses as startup businesses. So we definitely made an impact. Thank you for that. And we definitely made an impact within the industry. So we have definitely hit a niche market, if I can use that word, where there's need for a product like this and convenience as well. So we're not only selling an amazing product, we've got a solution here.
Yes. Yeah. And so for those people who are listening to this that are interested in becoming a reseller, what avenue do they follow to contact you?
Oh, so basically what they need to do is I would then also just refer them to the FoodSock website, www.foodsock.co.za. Then just find the tab that states become a reseller. You'll fill in the application there. Once the application is approved, then one of our gentlemen who does the sign-ups will make contact with you, and ultimately they'll be making contact with me directly as well.
Okay. And is there a minimum amount they have to take per month, per week, or how does it work?
This is also an interesting part. There's no contract binding you as a reseller that's stating, look, now you have to every month. So it's either going to work for the majority or for not. We're definitely not affiliated with a multi-level marketing business. So you're going to have to put in a little bit of time, taste testing, food markets, all that. I mean, we've got a number of MPOs, churches on board already. So if you got that joy out of assisting people while contributing to bettering your community around you and yourself even in a healthy way, this is definitely the way to go. So the minimum would be there's 2 options to currently choose from. So there's a starter pack, which is a total of 5,600, all inclusive. Then there's a starter pack for 3,550. But for those who want to reach out and they really got a target market and a plan, they can just gladly still fill in the forms. I might leave my email address at the end of this show, and then they can contact me directly and we can take it from there. But it's very doable. So there's no contract binding, but there is a reseller's agreement which they then sign so they can understand the business model. Yes. But it's very doable.
And what do they get for a starter pack?
Oh, a starter pack. You receive literally, let's say if you do sign up for the 3,550, for example, you will then receive 10 socks of each flavor. And then that is equally spread out to the value of 3,000 Rand with courier included. So for the total of 3,550, you'll be receiving all 9 flavors food socks, plus it's going to be couriered to you via the courier guy to your front door delivery. And there's a once-off administration fee added into that total, where we will then take your information, put it on the website, and we will actually create content for you with templates, with all the flavors, with your details on. So you don't have to go look up on Canva, or there's some amazing apps out there. I must give that. But you don't have to do any of that. Just follow our training, join our training sessions, which is fun and it's conveniently timed and it's recorded. So you literally receive a business in your hand.
So a person would buy it wholesale and then sell it for the recommended retail price.
That is correct. Yeah, they'll then get it at wholesale price, but to maintain it, getting it at wholesale price, they just need to reach that bare minimal target every month, which is very doable. They literally have to just sell the total value of 2,200 rands worth of food stock for the whole month.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean you have to put in an order for 2,200. If you want to put an order in for 500 this week, next week 500, next week 500, 100% all good. Majority of my resellers reach out to me and let me know, look, they really can't do this month because they're still sitting with the initial starter pack. I do give a month grace, a month leniency. But our training that we offer, the templates, the content we put out there, the videos, the images of the food, the taste testing is just phenomenal. So I cannot see how this cannot work.
So your business model is a lower profit on each sock, but a higher turnover of socks. So in volume.
Yeah, that is correct. So basically at wholesale price, they make quite a fair amount. If you can make 10 rand on any product that you sell. Let's say if you purchase, for example, any product on the market and you can make 10 rand on it, that's still good. So the resellers make just over a little over 15 rand per food sock.
Yes.
That's quite a good GP.
Yeah. Especially for something that people need every day.
Absolutely. And the best part of this is as well, there's so many ways that you can go, because one of our resellers does really, really well in the region and area where she is. She motivates me to such a point where she mentioned to me that debt and food goes hand in hand. Now, the reality is that more than a quarter, if not even more than half, or I'd say even 60% of South Africans live on credit card just to buy food.
Yes.
Then that's not even buying the healthy options and all that. And the best part of it all is you can do markets, you can do taste testing like we did here now. You can sell them per bowl. For the majority of markets, you might need to do application at the municipality, get the certification to sell a food product, which is not that strenuous or difficult to get. But that's where the key factor lies. If you do taste testing and people start tasting this product, it's A4 away.
And for those wanting to get into the reseller, do you have a cap on how many resellers in a geographical area?
Yeah, there is. If they go on the website there where they click on the option that says resellers, they will then have an option there to type in the area and press search. But if they just scroll down, they will see already there's a couple of closed areas. There is some really small towns. For example, there's really small towns like Prieska and Gordons Bay, where there's quite a few resellers who's been actively ordering for a whole year. So I do keep my resellers safe in a way where I see there's maybe 5 or 6 really operating in the area. I close the area down. So we don't want to overload it. Even it being a consumable, affordable product, it's open to any market.
Okay, so if somebody thinks their area is not being actively served by the resellers, can they contact you on your email?
Absolutely. If any listener do not see any marketing content in their area via Facebook, WhatsApp groups, TikTok, Mixer, there's so many socials out there. If you have not seen any marketing content, gladly make contact with me.
Okay, excellent.
Alfie, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. This has been so informative. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. We will link all your details in the show notes. And just again, if people want to get hold of you, where must they go?
If they want to get hold of me, they can contact me or send me a WhatsApp to 081 248 9886, or they can just send me a mail to alfie@foodsock.co.za. Or they can use my alternative mail as well. It's my eco mail. It's alfie@eco.org.za.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, dude.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Brett. This was amazing.
Cheers. You're well. Yeah, so Brett, after having that interview, it was really interesting.
Very much so.
I find it enlightening, especially everything that Alfie's been through and has experienced.
What a fascinating guy, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we bought some of the food socks to try.
Yeah, I got the mac and cheese, the chicken soup, and the chicken pasta.
Yeah, I got the mac and cheese and the milk course and the mutton stew, I think.
Okay, yeah, cool. Now I'm looking forward to trying them at home and seeing what they like. You know, trying a little sample at a market is one thing, but actually cooking the whole thing up for yourself is another thing entirely. And I'm looking forward to sampling them at home, and yeah, we'll be giving feedback on that definitely.
Well, I really enjoyed the milk course, the sample that I did have. And
yeah, unfortunately, they ran out of that before I managed to get to the table. So,
well, sorry that you didn't get to taste it.
But yeah, no, it was definitely a good time and nice group of people, really great group of people. They're really trying to give back to the community, make food affordable again.
Yeah,
and we all know how expensive things are getting. And I think talking to Alfie and to the owner, Carl, definitely shows that these are people that are passionate about what they do.
And down to earth.
Very, very down to earth, and I think that looking forward, Food Socks is going to be one of those great South African stories.
Yes, and we met 3 of the resellers in this area.
Yeah,
and it was interesting getting to know people, and look forward to seeing what they do in this area and in South Africa.
And just for the record as well, Food Socks did not approach us. They did not pay for us to do any of this. We actually approached them because I was interested in hearing their story.
Yes. And we approached them also because from a grid down, off the grid style scenario, we want to know when planning what type of things are available, because, and like we said before in the food prep podcast, you can throw a lot of money at this, the whole preparedness thing. And the Food Socks is the complete opposite of that.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
And it's affordable, and they're talking about 45 Rand for a food sock that feeds 4 people for a meal.
Yeah.
And while Brett and I might actually make that a 3.5 person or a 3-person meal.
Or a 2-person meal.
Well, it depends how hungry we are. But it's still $45 for 2 people to eat themselves full, like completely full.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, we will definitely be giving you guys feedback in future episodes on how that went. What have we got on deck for our next episode?
Our next episode, I'm not sure, but we're working on some food prep things for the future. We're working on, talking about firefighting, not firefighting like working as a firefighter, but just the mental prep of being ready for fire in your house. And if you have to go off grid, because if you're going off grid, especially if you're going to be making fire and playing with gas, fire happens.
You need to know what's going on.
Yes. And sometime or other, we're going to be talking about first aid, and not only the prep of it, but actual first aid, dealing with scenarios.
Yep. So we've got plenty of episodes lined up for you guys, and we will be doing this for a long time to come. I'm very happy we've reached our 7th episode, which apparently is a bit of a milestone for podcasts. And I'm very pleased to say we've got our first, I know it sounds like a drop in the ocean, our first 100 followers on Spotify. Thank you to all of you guys. We really appreciate it.
We do.
And let's have 100 more and 100 more.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Ben, I will see you next week, and we'll go from there.
Yes, I look forward to it. And it's been an exciting day, spending the day in wilderness at the market. And look forward to more interviews in the future.
100%. Cheers, dude.
Cheers. Keep well.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Off Grid Survival. For more info and updates, feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Off Grid Survival ZA. That's it for now. We will see you next time. And always remember, be prepared.